Part 1: Hank Morgan's arrival in Camelot. Hank Morgan, a pragmatic and sharp-witted young man hailing from Hartford, Connecticut, finds himself abruptly thrust out of the familiar world of 19th-century America into the legendary realm of King Arthur's Britain. The transition occurs in a most unconventional manner, during a heated altercation at his factory, where a blow to his head sends him hurtling through time. Disoriented and incredulous, Hank awakens to find himself amidst the lush, green countryside of medieval England, surrounded by knights in armor, thatched cottages, and the looming presence of Camelot. Initially dismissing his surroundings as a bizarre dream or delusion, Hank soon realizes the undeniable truth of his situation. Armed with a practical mindset honed by his experiences as a mechanic and his knowledge of modern science and technology, Hank quickly discerns that he possesses a significant advantage over the superstitious and often credulous denizens of this ancient world. As Hank navigates this unfamiliar terrain, he encounters local peasants, bemused knights, and wary clergy, all of whom view him with a mixture of awe and suspicion. His first interactions are marked by a blend of curiosity and amusement, as he observes the customs, beliefs, and societal norms that define Arthurian Britain. It is through these encounters that Hank begins to recognize the immense potential and pitfalls of wielding his 19th-century knowledge in a time where such concepts as electricity, steam power, and even basic hygiene are utterly alien. The turning point in Hank's journey occurs when his practical demonstrations of scientific principles, such as predicting a solar eclipse or creating explosive effects using simple chemical reactions, earn him notoriety and reverence among the court of King Arthur. Hank's ability to predict the eclipse, in particular, solidifies his reputation as a powerful magician or sorcerer in the eyes of the medieval populace, further cementing his position as an influential figure within Camelot. Through a combination of ingenuity, charisma, and a healthy dose of bravado, Hank assumes the mantle of the boss, a moniker bestowed upon him by his bewildered contemporaries who are both fascinated and intimidated by his seemingly supernatural abilities. This newfound role allows Hank to wield considerable influence within Arthur's court, where he begins to implement modest yet revolutionary changes aimed at modernizing and rationalizing the kingdom. Hank's journey is not without its challenges, however. As he endeavors to introduce practical innovations, such as standardized timekeeping, improved agricultural techniques, and rudimentary mechanical devices, Hank must navigate the intricate web of Arthurian politics, religious orthodoxy, and the entrenched social hierarchy. His efforts to reform and reshape Camelot are met with resistance from conservative factions, including the skeptical clergy and jealous nobility, who perceive his advancements as threats to their authority and status quo. Throughout Part 1, Mark Twain masterfully juxtaposes Hank's 19th-century pragmatism and skepticism with the romanticized ideals of chivalry and medieval romance. Twain uses Hank's interactions and observations to satirize the idealized notions of the past, while also critiquing the limitations and contradictions inherent in the pursuit of progress. As Hank Morgan embarks on his journey through Camelot, readers are invited to ponder timeless questions about the nature of power, knowledge, and the consequences of cultural clash. The stage is set for a narrative that blends humor, satire, and keen social commentary as a Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's court unfolds. Hank Morgan's arrival in Camelot not only serves as a catalyst for adventure but also as a thought-provoking exploration of the intersection between history, myth, and the inexorable march of human progress. Part 2: The Transformation of Camelot. Buoyed by his initial successes and emboldened by his newfound authority as the boss, Hank Morgan sets out on a mission to revolutionize Camelot and usher in a new era of progress and efficiency. Armed with his practical knowledge of 19th-century technology and a fervent belief in rationality, Hank begins to implement sweeping changes aimed at modernizing the medieval kingdom of King Arthur. One of Hank's primary objectives is to introduce innovations that will streamline governance, improve living conditions, and enhance productivity throughout Camelot. Drawing inspiration from his own era, Hank pioneers the introduction of practical inventions and organizational principles that he believes will propel Arthur's kingdom into a more prosperous future. Central to Hank's vision is the establishment of a rudimentary telecommunications network using telegraph lines and signal towers. This revolutionary system enables rapid communication across vast distances, transforming the way information is disseminated and orders are conveyed within the realm. The introduction of telegraphy not only enhances military coordination and administrative efficiency but also serves as a symbol of Hank's determination to break down barriers and unite Camelot under a common banner of progress. In addition to telecommunications, Hank introduces other technological marvels that leave the medieval populace both awestruck and apprehensive. He promotes the construction of rudimentary factories to mass-produce goods previously crafted by hand, thereby boosting economic output and creating new opportunities for employment. Despite initial skepticism and resistance from traditionalists, Hank's factories gradually gain acceptance as symbols of innovation and prosperity. Hank's reforms extend beyond technological advancements to encompass social and educational reforms aimed at uplifting the common people of Camelot. Recognizing the importance of education in fostering a knowledgeable and informed citizenry, Hank advocates for the establishment of schools and libraries where individuals can acquire essential skills and access a wealth of knowledge previously confined to the privileged few. However, Hank's ambitious endeavors are not without opposition. He faces fierce resistance from entrenched interests, including the clergy, nobility, and proponents of the status quo who view his reforms as a threat to their authority and traditional way of life. The Church, in particular, condemns Hank's technological innovations as blasphemous and seeks to undermine his influence by stoking fear and suspicion among the populace. As tensions escalate, Hank finds himself increasingly isolated and disillusioned by the complexities of governance and the unintended consequences of his actions. Despite his best intentions, Hank begins to question whether his efforts to modernize Camelot have truly brought about the utopian society he envisioned or merely sown seeds of discord and division among its inhabitants. Part 2 of A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court serves as a poignant exploration of the perils and promises of progress. Through Hank Morgan's transformative journey, Mark Twain confronts readers with timeless questions about the nature of power, the ethical implications of technological advancement, and the enduring struggle between tradition and innovation. The stage is set for a narrative that blends humor, social commentary, and philosophical introspection as Hank Morgan navigates the complexities of leadership and the unpredictable currents of history. Part 2 challenges readers to contemplate the consequences of change and the responsibilities that accompany the pursuit of a brighter future in the ever-shifting landscape of Camelot. Part 3, Opposition and Consequences. As Hank Morgan's ambitious efforts to modernize Camelot gain momentum, so too does the opposition against him from various quarters of Arthurian society. Part 3 of A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court delves deeper into the escalating conflicts, challenges, and unintended consequences that arise from Hank's attempts to impose 19th-century ideals on a medieval world. One of the primary sources of opposition comes from the entrenched nobility and clergy who view Hank's reforms as existential threats to their privileged positions and authority. Accustomed to the hierarchical order of feudalism, these powerful factions resist Hank's efforts to democratize Camelot, viewing his advocacy for meritocracy and equality as dangerous notions that undermine their control over the populace. The Church, in particular, emerges as a formidable adversary to Hank's reforms. Disconcerted by his technological innovations and rationalist worldview, religious leaders condemn Hank as a heretic and a sorcerer who threatens the spiritual and moral fabric of Arthurian society. They incite fear among the common people, portraying Hank's inventions and ideas as demonic or sacrilegious, thereby eroding public support for his reforms and sowing seeds of doubt and distrust. As opposition mounts, Hank finds himself increasingly isolated and vulnerable. His once loyal allies and supporters begin to question the ramifications of his actions, grappling with the unintended consequences of rapid social change and the disruption of established norms. The very innovations that once inspired awe and admiration among the populace now provoke suspicion and resistance, revealing the delicate balance between progress and preservation in the tumultuous landscape of Camelot. Moreover, Hank's own moral certitude begins to waver as he confronts the human cost of his reforms. The introduction of mechanized farming techniques, for instance, initially promises increased agricultural efficiency and food security. However, it also leads to unintended consequences such as displacement of rural laborers and disruption of traditional livelihoods, prompting Hank to confront the ethical implications of his technological advancements. Amidst these internal and external challenges, Part 3 of the novel explores Hank's evolving understanding of power, responsibility, and the limitations of his own agency. Despite his best intentions to uplift and empower the people of Camelot, Hank grapples with the complexities of governance and the unforeseen repercussions of his interventions. He wrestles with feelings of disillusionment and remorse as he witnesses firsthand the human toll of progress and the resistance of entrenched interests unwilling to relinquish their hold on power. Mark Twain uses Part 3 to critique both the romanticized ideals of chivalry and the pitfalls of unchecked modernization. Through Hank Morgan's tumultuous journey, readers are invited to reflect on the enduring tensions between tradition and innovation, the ethical dilemmas inherent in social change, and the precarious balance between ambition and humility in the pursuit of a better society. As a Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's court reaches its climax in Part 3, Hank Morgan's quest for transformation reaches a pivotal juncture. The stage is set for a dramatic confrontation between competing visions of progress and preservation, challenging readers to contemplate the enduring relevance of these themes in their own lives and societies. Part 4: The Fall of Camelot. Part 4 of A Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court chronicles the dramatic and tragic culmination of Hank Morgan's ambitious quest to modernize Camelot. As Hank's efforts to reform Arthurian society reach their zenith, the forces of opposition and the unforeseen consequences of his actions converge to bring about the downfall of Camelot. The part opens with Hank Morgan at the height of his influence and authority as the boss of Camelot. Despite the formidable resistance he faces from the nobility, clergy, and traditionalists, Hank remains steadfast in his commitment to advancing his vision of a progressive and egalitarian kingdom. He continues to introduce innovative technologies and social reforms, striving to improve the lives of the common people and dismantle the entrenched hierarchies that have long defined Arthurian society. However, Hank's idealistic aspirations are increasingly overshadowed by the harsh realities of political intrigue and societal unrest. The nobility, threatened by his reforms and resentful of his outsider status, conspire to undermine his authority and sow discord among the populace. The Church, leveraging fear and superstition, intensifies its campaign against Hank, portraying him as a malevolent force intent on corrupting the moral fabric of Camelot. As tensions escalate, Hank finds himself isolated and besieged, grappling with the moral complexities and unintended consequences of his actions. The once loyal supporters who rallied behind his vision begin to question the wisdom of his reforms, torn between loyalty to tradition and the allure of progress. Hank's own sense of purpose and righteousness is tested as he confronts the human toll of his interventions, grappling with feelings of disillusionment and despair. The climax of Part 4 unfolds with a series of catastrophic events that culminate in the tragic downfall of Camelot. Hank Morgan, betrayed and abandoned by former allies, is ultimately captured and sentenced to a grisly fate, burning at the stake for heresy and sorcery. The once proud kingdom of Arthur is plunged into chaos and turmoil, its noble ideals shattered and its unity fractured by internal strife and external threats. In the aftermath of Camelot's fall, Mark Twain offers a poignant reflection on the cyclical nature of history and the inexorable march of human progress. Through Hank Morgan's tragic demise, readers are confronted with profound questions about the inherent complexities of leadership, the ethical dilemmas of social change, and the enduring struggle between ambition and humility in the pursuit of a better society. As the novel draws to a close, Part 4 serves as a sobering reminder of the precarious balance between aspiration and consequence, idealism and pragmatism. Hank Morgan's journey from outsider to revolutionary to martyr underscores the profound impact of individual agency on the course of history, challenging readers to contemplate the enduring relevance of these themes in their own lives and societies.